Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jonathan with Audio Vice. Thanks for tuning in to our monthly live stream. We have a lot of very special guests joining us here today. We are excited to get rolling. It's been an exciting couple of weeks. Hope everybody is enjoying a little bit of warmer weather, and hopefully things are slowly starting to open back up where you are, being able to get back out and do some things and getting a little bit back to normal. We're excited to see folks in person again. But we love doing these monthly live streams. It's a great way for us to engage and interact with folks all over the country and even all over the world. So let us know in the comments. We can see if you're on YouTube, if you're watching this on Facebook, we can see all those comments coming in one place. Let us know where it is that you are dialing in for. I will introduce a couple of our guests and a couple of folks that we're welcoming back. And as we always do, we like to kick it off with kind of a fun question to get to know everybody a little bit. And go ahead and leave your comment in the comment section where you are in terms of the question. So I will hand it off, or we'll start with Brett first with Kanto. Kind of a fun question. Tell us a little bit about your first audio setup that maybe really got you excited about audio. I wanted to use the word, Nick came up with this question, I wanted to use the word, what was your sort of first hi-fi experience, but we don't want to set the bar too high. What was the first cool audio setup that really got you into audio? And again, for everybody else tuning in, feel free to let us know yours as well. I see somebody come in from Kalamazoo, Michigan. I've got my backup for my next drink from Kalamazoo. And also let us know what it is that you're drinking tonight. So Brett, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. So sadly enough, before I started with Kanto, I didn't know the world of high-end audio, and I was content listening to music on my phone and little Bluetooth stereo. And I will say, Kanto and the shows that we go to, and where we met Jonathan, that's where I really got kind of into hi-fi. And I've got a set of tucks downstairs that anyone who hears them loves them, and they really just they do great for us. So
awesome, great answer. Jeff, come to you next. Same question. And I guess real quick, Brett, what is it that you are drinking? Cheers, everyone. Let us know what you're drinking tonight as well.
I'm gonna represent West Coast here. So I've got a Vancouver Island Beachcomber Hef. It's a great beer if you're ever on the West Coast of Canada. Check it out.
And some folks may not realize exactly where you guys are based out of. So home base for you is?
We're based in Vancouver, British Columbia, so right on the West Coast. And this beer is from Vancouver Island, which is just a short ferry ride away from us. Awesome.
Jeff.
Cool. First hi-fi or audio setup, I think kind of when I first fell in love with it was my 1993 Honda Civic Si. And it was red, and that was my first kind of interaction with audio. So I had dual 12-inch subs, MTX set up. It was broken into several times and reset up several times. So it was just a passion project, and it was I guess it was back in the days of Fast and the Furious and trying to have a setup like that. So that was my first setup, and what I'm drinking is it's called Dat Juice, and it's a citrus pale ale. I like citrusy beers, and this hits the spot. So
awesome, good stuff. Jason.
Hey. Before I tell my audio experience, I'm drinking a Chinotto, an Italian soda. I just got it from the little Italian store that's right near my house. So. That's what I'm sipping on right now. My first my hi-fi experience. I've always loved hi-fi my whole life. I used to take apart little transistor radios that I got from Valley Village. But I think my really first actual foray into hi-fi is when my parents upgraded from a little boombox with a CD player into one of those JVC mini systems that how three-way. They got they had the speakers, and they had the middle column that had all the CD changer, tape player, FM tuner, that sort of thing. And when I told my cousin about it, he told me he had a Yamaha dual 8-inch subwoofer that was just chilling in his garage that he could give to me. And I connected it high level into that thing and started playing with crossover frequencies, listening, and I got into it that way.
Awesome. Cool. And then I want to introduce on our end, Craig Woolard joining us. You guys may recognize him from a lot of our reviews and video reviews. And if you follow our YouTube channel, obviously you've seen Craig quite a few times. Craig actually did the review for our the new U4 and U6 passive speakers that we're going to talk about here just in a little bit. But want to welcome Craig. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. So I was on the prowl to find a Vancouver IPA. I know that's kind of what you guys are known for. Couldn't find one, so just to represent North Carolina from Wilmington. Some of us at Audio are Wilmingtonians in North Carolina, and Four Paws, New Anthem, is the really famous brewing company. And this one, I'm not really usually an IPA guy, so it's a mixed berry milkshake flavor. I needed, to have something that would make it go down a little easier. So that's what I'm drinking tonight.
Awesome.
What got me into, high-end audio, I guess, was a hand-me-down stereo amplifier that my dad, handed down to me. It was a vintage Harman & Kardon HK 503 stereo amp. And he also gave me a Bang & Olufsen turntable. Nice. So that's kind of what, got me into it, I guess you could say. So here we are.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Cool. And then lastly, bringing back Nick Rich, joining me again as well. Nick, same question to you.
Well, I'll start out my drink. I am drinking a Prairie. You got a horchata. So it's a horchata stout. Prairie's a great brewery. If you guys like stouts, definitely check them out. But for my first system, my first was also a hand-me-down, just like Craig. I went pillaging through my dad's garage and found like an old set of like Polk satellite speakers and I think it was a Yamaha like AV receiver, and hooked it up with a turntable. First time I ever experienced stereo imaging, and I was like, wow, it sounds like there's something in the middle, but there's not anything. So it got the bug started, and I've been blowing money ever since.
Yeah, as we all have. And I think Jeff actually made me change my answer a little bit. When I was in college, I had a Jeep Wrangler, 1989 Jeep Wrangler, and I spent so much money on, I think I had a Pioneer CD player and some Boston Acoustic 6x9-inch speakers that I drilled into the wheel wells, which sounded pretty good for a little while until I would leave the top off and they get wet. So anyways, that's kind of what gave me the bug early days. Well, thanks again, everyone, for joining us. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We're really excited to spend the next 45 minutes or so together. Here's what you can expect. We're going to introduce our giveaway here in just a minute, and then we're going to answer a lot of questions that you guys may have, whether it's regarding audio, vinyl, turntables, you name it. Fire those questions in the comment section. We'll get through as many of those as we can. And then right at the end of the hour, we will announce our winner for this month's giveaway. And then in addition to the giveaway, we're going to announce the winner for the best question, which we will announce what we're going to be giving away for that as well. So I will hand it back over to Jeff to tell us a little bit more about Kanto in general, and then also what it is that we're giving away here this evening. And you're on mute, Jeff. Sorry about that.
There you go.
You'd think we'd get that figured out after a year working from home, right?
Still technical difficulties. Brett kind of touched on it earlier, but for those of you that don't know, Kanto is a Canadian company like many other great audio brands that Audio Advice carries. We were founded in 2007, and we're if you don't know anything about Vancouver, yes, it does rain here a lot, but it is beautiful. So for those that are unaware, we first partnered with Audio Advice back in 2017, and that was when Jonathan walked into our booth, and we've been doing some fun stuff together ever since. So we're happy to have the relationship. One of the things we're proud of is that all of the finished products and marketing material you see today is all done from our great in-house team. So we're happy to we boast of that. If you're an Audio Advice customer, you know that we know us for our powered speakers probably, which are a perfect mix of design and functionality. The dynamic natures of the speakers allow them to work with turntables, computers, gamers, office, streaming. They're kind of we like to refer to them as kind of the Swiss Army knife product. They can really work with anything out there. So we're happy to talk about that. We did recently release some passive product that Craig did a wonderful review on. There's a write-up and landing page on that, so I suggest checking that out. Besides audio, we have a full range of steel products, which includes TV mounts, speaker stands, office accessories, a lot of which are in the package, the giveaway package that I'm going to talk about in just a second. So make sure you enter if you haven't already. It's a pretty sweet prize package.
Awesome. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what it is that we're giving away this evening?
Yeah, so I'll touch through all the Kanto stuff, and then I'll pass it on to you guys for the U-turn piece. So kind of the main piece of the package is the Tuck powered speakers. I think Brett mentioned earlier how great they sound. He's got a pair. Many of us do at Kanto. They really they're one of the best bangs for the buck in the powered speaker world. We're including the SP6 W stands, which are desktop speaker stands. We're including the DS150, which is our tablet stand, headphone stand, the H1W, and then the DMS is our dual monitor mount. So again, this setup is you guys have called it perfectly. It's the work and play giveaway. So it's the perfect setup for your office, but it's also gives you way more than that.
Awesome. And Nick, why don't you tell a little bit about U-Turn in general, and then what it is that we're giving away as part of this package as well.
Yeah. So U-Turn's a really great company, especially if you're looking for your first turntable. They do a very minimalist design, no extra bells and whistles. So they just put all their money into making a very sleek product, simple components with very good sound. So they the primary one that the one that we're giving away is just the Orbit Plus, which is their entry level. So it's got an OM5E Ortofon cartridge. It's got the acrylic platter and just the all manual control. And so their next step up is the Orbit Special, which we're not giving away, but it's their next one. And it's got the same platter, but it actually has the plinth, which is a hardwood plinth. It's a single piece hardwood. And it also comes with a tone arm lifter and the Ortofon 2M Red. So those are the main two, but the Orbit Plus is absolutely fantastic. And so it's a good pairing also with the Kanto speakers.
Absolutely. And I love the Tux. Jeff, I remember 2 or 3 years ago now, I guess it was. I think you showed us kind of an early preview of those.
I think they were covered up.
Yeah. You're like, come check these out. I'll let you get a quick glimpse of them. And I mean, I was just blown away. I remember you asking me if basically like, is there a sub plugged in or not? Right. And I was like, yeah, there's definitely a sub plugged in. You're like, nope. And then you did a little comparison of when you had the sub plugged in and not. And so really, really impressive, how much they're able to perform for a bookshelf speaker. They're really, really impressive. They sound great. We're certainly big fans. So all in all, almost a $1,700 package that we're giving away this evening. It's going to be a lot of fun. In addition, for best question, we're also giving a pair of the Kanto U's with the S4 stands. So right under $325 value. So keep firing those questions. We're going to get through as many of those as possible. Jason, wanted to come to you. Maybe you can do a little bit more. So a lot of folks are asking us, tell us a little bit more about Kanto and what makes you guys unique. Maybe from a product side, you can elaborate a little bit further on that. And then also maybe you can give us a preview on maybe some other things that you guys are working on.
Yeah, for sure. Jeff kind of touched on it, but I mean, we're always looking for ways to maximize the connectivity and ways that people can use our products within their home. That really drives a lot of the innovations. We try to think out features that some other manufacturers might not fully implement. When we're looking at Tuck, we got little things like LED brightness control. We got things like, channel swap, bass and treble memory settings. So, every single input you go to has a different EQ profile on it. Just like little kind of things add up to a very comprehensive package, really greater than the sum of its parts. When it comes to, the accessory side of things, just making sure we make Kanto cinematic universe of product lines. We got everything working together. All of our speaker stands work with our powered speakers. We're constantly developing new accessories to work with our speakers, and using the same design language, not just in our audio accessories, but also in our mounts and our anything that holds up monitors on desktop, anything that holds a TV. Industrial design is all done in house here, so we have that ability to really play to our key strengths. As for some new products, are you guys wanting to know a little bit more about what we got in the pipe? Because I can leak some info if you want.
Go ahead.
For sure. So we're really doubling down on our speaker stands. We have such a leg up because we are, at the end of the day, we do metal products too. We're not just an audio company, we're a mount company as well. So we have that design expertise and that manufacturing in order to make really, really good speaker stands. So I'll share my screen and I'll just quickly talk about some of the new stuff that we got going on. I'm just going to talk about 2 new speaker stands that we have coming out. We'll
Yep.
see if my screen sharing is going to work here. All right. So we got my second screen shared here. Oh, that's not our stand. That is our stand right there. That's the S2 and S4 and S6. And of course, the S2, S4, and S6 are they're beautiful speaker stands, minimal, designed in-house. We wanted to do something with the same design language as them, but something that was elevated, something that could actually free up some space below your desk. S2, S4, S6, while they're great, you can utilize the space on your desk a little bit better. So we decided to create something that was a riser, an elevated speaker stand. These are very preliminary pictures. I don't even know if I should be showing them, but we're wanting to do basically, yeah, exactly. Here they are.
Yeah, this is only recorded and posted on our YouTube channel, but hey,
terrible.
just amongst a few friends.
Yeah, so basically you're looking at same sort of thing. We got the large one, we got one that's similar to the S6, one similar to S4, and one similar to S2. For all your different variety of sizes of speakers. Of course, because we want everybody to be part of our Kanto universe, we included a little threaded insert on all of our speakers and a little hole in the bottom, so you get this really secure, really heavy-duty premium feel that it's not going to get knocked over if you accidentally touch it. You can see that it's not a standard cantilever. We've tried to get the center of gravity a little bit more in the center of the mount, so it's really stable compared to some of the other products that are similar to this. You can just kind of see a shot of just what the speakers would look like on top of those guys. Those dimensions are not finalized, so we'll just get away from that. But yeah, I wanted to talk to you about those new desktop stands. So that'll bring us from 2 lines of desktop stands to 3 lines of desktop stands. So tons of options depending on the aesthetic that you like or depending on the features that you want. So that is that. And then let's talk a little bit about our new flagship floor standing stands. We are really, really stoked about the new SX speaker stands that are going to be coming out. So we got SP stands that are pretty dang good for their price. They're really rigid, really high, well constructed, but we knew that we could do better. We knew that we had the ability to create a flagship speaker stand, and I'm not at all worried about using that term because in our opinion, these are going to be probably some of the best stands in the market. So I'll show you just a quick little photo of them. We won't choose them too much, but they are a lot heavier duty than our current SP stands, much larger column, holds quite a bit of fill, and has 2 separate chambers for your cable management and your fill, so there's no competing between space inside of there. And if we just move a little bit through here, you can see that we have this really slick leveling system that lets you level the product from above the stand, so you don't have to break your back getting down there to make your speaker level. We're going to throw a bubble level in the package too, so you just throw a bubble level on top of your speaker, make an adjustment from the top, and you're done leveling your speaker in like probably 10 seconds. Super slick, well implemented. We give you all the tools you need, and they look great. Big hole on the opening there. Kanto makes powered speakers. We wanted to make sure that cable management hole was nice and big and wide, so you can run some pretty beefy power cables through there with no issue. And if you zoom in just a little bit, you will see our feet. We have some really beautiful steel feet with some silicone on the bottom of them. And then I won't say too much at this point. I will leak the product a little bit, but not all its features. We've actually designed an in-house proprietary isolation system for these feet. There's no metal-on-metal contact between the feet and the base of the speaker, fully isolated. So I think that pretty much covers it. These guys are going to be out probably early summer, but you guys are the first to hear about it.
Cool, that's exciting. Great relevant question. This one's from, let's see, Randy. I want to say it's Schuster. Forgive me if I got that wrong. He said, do the speaker stands make a substantial difference in audio output? Tell us a little bit more about your thoughts there, and we'll kind of go and get everyone's thoughts.
Audio output, hard to define. In terms of volume output, no, I wouldn't say so. In terms of audio quality, definitely.
Yeah.
And reason being is You know, it's so rare to place your speaker just on a piece of furniture in your house, and that's the best place for it. You really do need some speaker stands to be a platform, a piece of furniture that can move around your room, so you can find that sweet spot in your house where you don't have crazy peaks or nulls inside of your room. Every room is different in terms of how the speaker is going to respond. And if you have some speaker stands to actually move around your speakers and find that sweet spot in your house, it's going to make a huge difference. You might not even have to EQ your speakers. You could literally just have them running stock flat if they're in the right place in your home. And you're not going to be able to find that sweet spot if you just put them on an actual desktop.
Absolutely.
And also just getting away from the wall, right? I mean, like, I think of one thing that, you know, people really underestimate is comb filtering and just, you know, I guess really small reflections, how much they can distort sound and make things, it can crush your imaging completely. So I think they make a huge difference. Obviously, I'm biased, but let's be honest here. You don't see any hi-fi system with anybody without the speaker stands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thoughts? Greg, good. Your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I honestly, when I was writing the review, first of all, the speaker stands just look amazing. That's one thing I just really like about your brand. The way you design the speakers and the stands and that entire ecosystem, it's almost Apple-like and just really, you know, clean cut, sophisticated. I really like it. It looks good in a modern setup. And it also can like kind of blend in the background too, which is cool. But kind of to that person's question, you know, output, it's really a lot of it is the bass, right? Like removing all those vibrations and everything. And through coupling and, you know, the speaker stands, just when they stabilize position, it also really improve the sound of the bass and just gets that stereo imaging so that, like Nick said before, vocals, drum and bass, everything's like right in the middle. And we kind of always sort of recommend to space out the speakers with the stands so that you're at an equilateral distance, you know, with the stands, and you also at an equal distance from them too. And we kind of go over that in some of our review too with the performance section. But I have to agree, man. Speaker stands, especially, you know, the ones you guys make for these speakers specifically, they're really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, one addition to that too is if you know, since we got a turntable in the giveaway, if you have a turntable, having stands makes a huge difference because, as you've probably seen in every comment section of of setups, you never want the turntable on the same exact surface as the speakers, so or else that vibration will run back through and it'll get you a feedback loop. So yeah, they really definitely help there.
Yeah, cool. Great thoughts. Couple more questions. Someone asked, should I open up another IPA? Absolutely. This is a happy hour, right? Next question is about the tucks. So this is from another Richard. Is there a way to connect the Kanto tuck to a subwoofer? If so, what subwoofer would you recommend? So that's kind of an easy question for you guys. Jason, you want to maybe kick that one off, and then we'll get to everyone else's thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. So Kanto, all of our speakers have subwoofer outputs. Tuck is actually special in the sense that it's the only speaker that we have that has active crossover. So if you hold our fancy remote and you hold down the sub mute button for 5 seconds, it enables the active crossover. Anything below 80 hertz gets sent to the sub. Anything above 80 hertz gets just sent to the speakers. So super well integrated. Works extremely well with really any subwoofer as long as it can accept RCA and it's powered, which is like most of the subwoofers on the market. We'd love to see you get a Kanto sub 8 with those tucks, but honestly, those tucks are so capable by themselves that you may not need a subwoofer. That is kind of the beauty of tuck, is that it hits so low. You know, if you don't really need that much information below the 40 hertz mark, not a huge deal to not get a subwoofer. And, you know, just to reiterate on what I see on forums and stuff all the time, you know, if you are looking for like a small compact subwoofer that performs really well and you don't want to get a sub 8, you know, there's lots of micro subwoofers now from like SVS, KEF, the speed woofer from RSL. Like those are all going to work fantastic with our product.
Yeah. Yep, I've got this sub 8 underneath my desk right below me, so I certainly love listening to that. And to your point, I think the ability to sort of hand off the lower frequencies to the subwoofer to open up the tucks really, I think, maximizes the performance, which is a big differentiator for maybe a lot of other powered speakers that folks may be looking at. Any other thoughts from the group?
Yeah, I'll weigh in real quick. I mean, just having reviewed those U passives, one thing I was just really impressed with them is, I mean, having a 5.25 inch woofer is pretty small, but when you connect it to the right integrated amplifier with enough power, I mean, honestly, the bass impact that comes out of those guys are really impressive. I mean, I was really impressed when it came to movies. Even the 4-inch ones, guys, like, I didn't expect a lot, to be honest with you. They're really small cabinets, and a 4-inch woofer, you wouldn't really expect that in a 1-inch tweeter to really provide like room filling sound. But again, when you kind of step up the integrated amp or the receiver, the musicality of, it's like when you get the bass and the mid range glued together, and pro audio kind of call it like gluing it together. You did a good job. I mean, it's very musical. Again, with the right amp that has enough power. I was impressed with it, man.
Yeah. Real quick, someone asked, is this only available in Canada or also in the US? So obviously at Audio Advice, we would love to be your go-to destination for anything related to Kanto in the United States. We're happy to help you out. We have folks available via phone, chat, email support, 8:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday, 10 to 6 on Saturday. That's my shameless plug. But obviously we're here to help you out for all things Kanto anywhere in the United States. Real quick question for those who may not be, maybe sort of new to audio is we've been talking about powered speakers, and Craig, you did a great job of transitioning to the passive views that Kanto just launched. Maybe kind of quickly just walk people through what kind of a basic understanding of the difference between a powered bookshelf speaker and obviously what a passive speaker is, and then walk us through maybe some of the things that you used to test the passive speakers in your review of the passive views.
Yeah, man. So what I actually used was a Cambridge Audio AX30, and another one that's really good, that's inexpensive. At this price point, these speakers are kind of a steal for what they can do. But the Sony STR DH190 2-channel stereo receiver, that's another really good one to use. But if you want to step it up, like I was talking about, for that more musicality and just the extra power that these can handle, because they're not. Yeah, and I'll let Nick kind of speak on the sensitivity a little bit more. But when you kind of step it up to an integrated amplifier like Cambridge Audio AX835, and again, these are kind of referenced in the review, you really kind of hear that bass and that really sweet sounding tweeter that I was kind of describing before, and that good mid-range glue, especially in the 4-inch. It's just really musical, and I was really impressed. The stereo imaging was good, but it's that bass even without a subwoofer when you pair it with the right amp.
Nick, I want to get your thoughts, and then Craig, you just mentioned something that someone asked a question about, and Nick, you actually mentioned this when you were talking about the first time you ever heard stereo imaging, like how cool that was. So some folks are asking, what is stereo imaging? And then, so maybe you can just weave that into your answer,
Sure.
about the difference between passive and powered.
Yeah, so we'll start kind of between the passive and the powered speakers. So I'm sure that Kanto has a good way on this, but the thing is with powered speakers, Craig talked about passive, you need a amplifier with it. With powered speakers, they have the amplifier built in, and the big advantage to that is that the powered speakers company, like Kanto, they have the ability to design the speaker and the amplifier together for a perfect match. But if you do have an amplifier already, you can add on a set of passive speakers and make a really good setup for a really good price. But touching on what stereo imaging is, we talk about it a lot, and you probably hear a lot of hi-fi guys talking about it. It's whenever you have two speakers, you have one to the left, one to the right, and the point where, if you're sitting in an equilateral triangle, you'll hear a vocals coming out of the dead center, out of the middle, where there really is no speaker. That's called a stereo effect, and so it creates the illusion of a center image, which is really cool. So if you're on a single speaker, a little powered Bluetooth speaker, try out just a cheap set of stereo. Well, I say cheap, but affordable pair of stereo speakers, and really just experience that stereo image. It'll change your perception of music entirely.
Absolutely, totally agree. Any other thoughts? If not, we'll fire off the next question here. A couple other good questions. Some folks were asking. There was another good one that I wanted to throw out there, but actually, real quick, why don't you guys walk us through maybe the difference, just while we're talking about the Kanto lineup? You know, some of the powered speakers, the U2, the U4, and then the U6, and maybe kind of what you get as you move up the line.
Yeah,
Jason,
sure.
Go ahead.
Jason, do you want me to take that, or are you?
Yeah, I can talk about it really quick here. So I mean, in terms of like our lineup, you know, we got a compact speaker, mid-size, and we got a full-size bookshelf speaker. It really comes down to how much output, how much bass you want. There is some functionality between the speakers that are slightly different, but at the end of the day, all of them do have multiple inputs, so they have the ability to be connected to multiple devices. U2 specifically is geared for desktop specifically. We did not really think out too many things with, you know, using on a bookshelf or like in a hi-fi system. So it's got auxiliary and it's got USB. Those are the two inputs you're going to see on desktop. Once you get away from U2 though, you got a lot of the same connectivity. You're going to have your optical, you're going to have your RCA, you're going to have Bluetooth on every single one. So you kind of have to make that decision. You know, it's just like price versus performance. If I really want something that is going to give me a lot of value without a subwoofer, you know, you're looking at Tucker U6. If you're listening to some music that maybe doesn't have a lot of bass energy, you're listening to a lot of acoustic music, that sort of thing, U4 is just going to be perfect for you. And you know, we talked about U briefly. That's going to be in our giveaway. U is this awesome speaker. We made it in response to just basically offering a lower cost U4. So U is essentially a U4. It just doesn't have those digital connections, and it doesn't have a painted finish. A few little things here and there that are different, but you know, that is, in my opinion, the sweet spot in our lineup in terms of the most amount of money for the most speaker that you get if you don't need optical, if you don't need certain other little features that U4 has, like the phono preamp as well.
Yeah,
so I think
echo that.
Describes it. You know, we got such a vast product line. It's really hard to just kind of answer in such a short time. But I think just audio performance versus price, what you're most comfortable with, that'll kind of lead you to the right Kanto speaker.
Yep. And like you said, those U's by themselves, you know, if you're just looking for an affordable pair of speakers to get started, you can't beat them. They sound great. Transition a little bit. I know we talked a little bit about, you know, the difference between powered and passive speakers. Maybe you guys can walk us through what went into the thought process behind developing the new passive lineup that you guys just came out with.
Yeah, I can answer that too. I am product manager, so I'm going to answer a lot of these questions for sure. U passive, you know, very simple. We wanted to get people into the Kanto ecosystem at a most economical price possible. These are such killer price points, you know, $160 and $200 for a pair of bookshelf speakers that sound awesome. They are literally the same drivers, same tweeters as you see in our U4 and U6 speaker. If you can't afford to get a U4 or U6, if you don't need a phono, if you don't care about digital, if you are comfortable, you got your own like amplifier that's been given to you, like we were just discussing, a lot of people start their journey on hi-fi with hand-me-down equipment. If you got a hand-me-down receiver and you want a pair of speakers, U passive is such a great introduction to a really good quality speaker, and also just to Kanto in general. You know, getting that diversity of price lines across our products is really important to just make sure that anyone who wants to listen to a Kanto speaker can listen to a Kanto speaker.
Yeah, and
I was going to say too, like you know, like Craig was saying, like you might actually get more audio performance from U passive than the power speakers. If you're hooking up to a really high-end amp, you'll get, you know, better transients. We can only pack so much power into a powered speaker, into a sealed box. But if you got an external amplifier that's putting out like a clean 50 watts RMS per channel, up to 100 watts RMS per channel, and you pair it with like a U6, you know, you can actually get better audio performance than our speakers. So like, there's just so much value there.
Yeah. And Jason, can I ask you real quick, man? Some of us at Audio Advice were wondering, is this your first passive speaker that you guys have created?
It's not actually, believe it or not. We have had a few passive speakers in the past. Astute people that have been following Kanto for a while know that we had some square speakers called Ben back in the day. And well, really back in the day, those were around before me. I've been with Kanto for 7 years, and I think Ben was already stopped. I don't even think we were selling them by the time I started. So Kanto's done it before. Those were coaxial speakers, so tweeter within a driver. It's a really unique design. No bass, but people loved how they sounded. And then we did have a brief run of Yumi passive speakers for a while. That was about 7 years ago, right when I started, maybe 6 years ago. We had the Yumi passive speakers as well. So those were full-size bookshelf speakers. They sounded great too. I mean, I loved Yumi. I'm gonna, I shed a tear. Although I love our speakers, Yumi was actually my favorite because it was happening right when I started joining Kanto. So even though I like the sound, there's also some nostalgia there for me as well.
Yeah, that's cool. I really like how I just want to jump in real quick.
Yeah, absolutely, Craig.
The 4-inch one. The thing that I really liked about it was for near field and just in a mid-sized room. I thought they were maybe the most musical one. Really good for vinyl listening and just with a streaming station and everything like that. But when you kind of step up to that 5.25 woofer and that larger model, it really suited movies and cinema really, really well. I mean, I was, again, really impressed with that. So, I mean, kind of like what you were saying before, I mean, for anyone with either a hand-me-down AV receiver or even an existing 5-channel surround sound setup, I mean, you guys made a pretty cool passive series that are great entry points at these prices that will enhance people's sound with their TV or even their 2-channel gear. So, I mean, I really like that. If you're a music person, you kind of want to go the 4-inch direction, the U Passive 4. If you really want to use it for music and cinema, maybe step it up to the 5.25. That's what I would think.
Yeah, great thought. Nick, were you going to add something?
I was not, but
okay.
I'll answer Craig.
Well, let me ask you. Let me throw a quick question out. This we're seeing a couple questions around. How do you pair the powered speakers with a turntable? Maybe just kind of walk us through, because obviously one of the big differentiators with Kanto is that you get the phono stage and several of the higher end models. So maybe you can kind of walk through. If I want to hook up a turntable to a pair of powered speakers, what do I need? Yeah. And then obviously, the benefits of having that built in with several speakers in the Kanto lineup.
Yeah. So with turntables, you have basically a cartridge, which has got the stylus, which just touches the record. So whenever that makes contact, it's a very, very low voltage output because it's not powered. It's essentially just a passive signal. The only thing that's plugged in on a turntable power-wise is for the motor. So once that frequency comes out or that signal comes out, it has to be amplified. And so some turntables have a built-in phono preamp, for example. U-Turn does make some. It costs a little bit more to have a phono preamp built in to the table, but on the speakers themselves, Kanto includes a really great moving magnet phono preamp. So it does a fantastic job. If you have any moving magnet phono preamp, it works flawless. So it's just a super simple, clean setup of just having turntable, 2 speakers, and you're ready to rock.
Yep. Awesome. Any other comments around that? Obviously, that's one of the things that makes Kanto great, and especially with this giveaway, is you can just plug the turntable in and you're ready to go.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things when we developed U4 and U6 a few years back, was just the simplicity of having that one system and getting people kind of involved in records. And we timed it really well with the rise of vinyl back a few years ago when it got really popular. And by launching U4 and U6 around that same time and being able to kind of pair it with some of the old turntables that don't have a built-in phono, we were able to hit a lot of different demographics in the market, and people who just, they found their grandpa's old turntable in the basement, and they went and they didn't kind of know really what to do. They could buy a set of Kanto speakers, plug them in, and not have to go spend money on a phono preamp or try and figure out how it all worked. So it's definitely been a signature input or a signature item for us on our speakers to date.
Yeah, it definitely gives us the when our speakers get paired with a retro turntable, it's the retro modern look that the Kanto goes for.
Yeah, absolutely. I will just kind of a quick aside. My wife's uncle passed away a few years back, and we were fortunate enough to inherit his record collection. And it was just so cool to dust off a lot of these old, Beatles records and, Led Zeppelin and a bunch of his old, rock bands, and just put them on and listen from start to finish. Totally different experience than, just kind of running through my Spotify list or my Qobuz playlist. And so it was just really cool. So if you've never experienced vinyl, it's a lot of fun. There's definitely a huge reason why vinyl is making a great comeback, and obviously, Kanto speakers, whether it's the 4, the 6, the Tux, all sound great with those. Speaking of different inputs, let's see here. Boxer ERP, I think that's who it is, asks, what's the difference in sound quality between all the various inputs, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, vinyl, etc.? And then maybe we can talk a little bit about Bluetooth aptX. So, Nick, maybe I'll get your thoughts first, and then we'll maybe go to Jason, Craig, anybody else that wants to jump in.
It's going to be a really long answer. No, I'll take it down to the shortest term. So,
Yeah.
Any type of digital source out there, the ultimate goal is to be turned into analog. So that's what you have, a digital to analog converter. And it's digital is all ones and zeros, of course, and it's trying to form it into a sine wave that's a wave, basically. So analog, whenever recorded, it's recorded tape or direct to disc, which is the most common, really analog forms. Direct to disc or just plain vinyl. So it's already a smooth analog curve because it was never going through any type of conversion. So whenever you have a digital source, like I said, it has to be converted over, and there's different bit rates. So basically the amount of data inside of that, kind of like if you look at a TV, digital audio is very related close to video. So you have 1080p images, you have 4K images. So there's different resolutions of audio. Now Bluetooth typically is the lowest form of, or it has the lowest data transmission rate of any of the digital sources. But aptX, which is called it's a codex, it's what Kanto implements to make Bluetooth a little bit more high res and have a higher resolution because it's able to transfer a little bit easier. So they do a fantastic job. And guys, correct me if I'm wrong. It's CD quality, right? 1642. Is that correct?
Yeah. So aptX advertises itself as the normal one. They claim it's CD quality, and then HD is getting into high res. If you look at the actual bit rate that it's transferring, you'll kind of see that it's maybe a little bit less than what they're claiming. I would say aptX HD is pretty much bang on CD quality audio, maybe a little bit better in terms of the amount of bit rate that it's sending. aptX standard is still a really good codec, especially if you're using like FLAC or something that's compressed but not lossy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's lossy compression and lossless. Again, this answer I could literally talk for the entire hour of the live stream, right. But more or less what he's saying is they've got Bluetooth up to a way higher standard than it would otherwise. As long as you have an aptX compatible device, you can get really good sound out of Bluetooth. And again, they've got a couple other digital inputs depending on the speaker that works very well. And they've got a very good DAC for a powered speaker, so you can get high res sound. But yeah, that's my short/long-winded answer.
Yeah. Well, what makes the Tux so great is it comes with a great remote. It's super simple to change easily back and forth between various inputs, no matter what your favorite listening preferences or just what you have accessible to. So, a couple of other Tuck questions. Let's see. Will the upgraded tweeter in the Tuck work its way down the Kanto lineup?
Right now, we're basically considering Tuck to be its own separate line. Mm-hmm. We currently have Tuck. We'd love to do some different type of Tucks in the future.
Yeah, other variations of that. Yeah,
it's the AMT tweeter is such a differentiating feature between our speaker lines that it's unlikely we'll roll it out to something that's in the U series, just because like DSP, AMT, those are the defining features of Tuck. It would really muddy the product lines if we put them into the other products. So although that's a very different
on the difference between the AMT tweeter and maybe versus what you'd see in a cone tweeter or a ribbon or something.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, AMT tweeter is it's like an accordion, like it's folded horizontally, and the electronic like the magnets that are sending the signal are actually making it kind of squeeze inward, and air is shooting in and out, usually block off one side of it. And that's why it's called air motion transfer, because you're transferring this squeezing pattern to going outward like that. So that's like how an AMT tweeter works. benefit of an AMT tweeter versus a silk dome tweeter, which is still, a pretty standard type of driver where it's just kind of, moving in and out. AMT is like a very thin membrane. It's like really, really light. You can get super accurate sound from the AMT tweeter because it can really just stop on a dime. Your transients and like the quickness of how it can react to music is almost always going to be better than a dome tweeter of a similar price. It's just such a cool thing when you it's just kind of just reproduces audio almost perfectly. It's almost like with Tuck, you see a lot of reviews, people being like, you need to have a really good source because it's like going to reveal a lot of flaws. That's what AMT does versus like a cone tweeter or a silk dome, which I think is a little bit more forgiving just because it's not quite as precise. And there's always, we can't have a black and white conversation about this. There's always going to be some shades of gray in between. There's some amazing, incredible standard traditional silk domes, but that's a really good compressed conversation.
Yeah, no, great way of sort of distilling that down really easily for folks to understand. And I think you guys really upped the bar with Tuck. You kind of want to reserve that for kind of that higher lineup for you guys. Probably a pretty easy question, but again, we have a lot of folks who are sort of new to audio. This one's from Mitchell. For the Kanto lineup, specifically the Tucks, do you guys recommend burn-in time, and if so, for how long?
I'll take that because, man, my opinion has changed over the years like crazy. I used to be a staunch, like, burn isn't real person. Like, even when it came to physical components, I'm like, there's just no way that something that's just moving is going to just start sounding different. Like, if it's going to sound different, it's going to be like instantaneously the second it moves. And then I started watching a little bit more YouTube videos of people talking about burn-in, and I'm still not convinced on equipment like electronic burn-in, but I definitely believe in actual burn-in on drivers. You look at the feel small parameters, the actual mathematical like changes that happen that you can measure, and things change. Things drastically change over the course of time. So we don't recommend burn-in in our manuals because we believe that a customer's gonna just use the speaker and it's just gonna burn in. Like, if you bought Tuck, it's a really bassy speaker, you're gonna crank it. Like, we're not gonna pull any punches. Like, what our customers are gonna do. So they're gonna get burned in. It just takes some time. But I will say that if you do want to burn in your speakers, my opinion is just plain friggin' loud. Just playing real loud for a lot of hours, and you'll burn it in real quick. What you want to do is you want to break in the spider, basically that piece of fabric that's holding the cone in, like centering it. That's what you're trying to break in, and doing it really loud is the best way to do it. It takes almost no time at all.
Craig, what are your thoughts when you break in a pair of speakers?
Yeah, some people have different opinions on that. I just always kind of do it like a low volume white noise, sometimes peak noise, and I'll just, some manufacturers recommend, doing it 48 hours. Some say a lot longer than that. It just kind of depends. But I've noticed on some speakers, and in particular, it's when I even mentioned a little bit of burn in our performance section, but I think I let them burn in for 3 days, just playing a little bit of white noise, and I think that had a little something to do because they sounded pretty good out of the box, but they did open up a lot more. They just kind of came alive. I'm a believer. I think it does something, and I think they responded to it quite impressively, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. We always, as you can imagine, we get tons of speakers. If I had $1 for every speaker line I get, inbounded on. But anyways, we test a lot of different speakers, and we always make sure that we burn them in because sometimes it doesn't make a massive difference, but there's other times where the difference is night and day. And what we'll do is in our office is we'll set them up over the weekend and let them play sort of at a mid-level over the weekend. Just let them run. Sometimes we use white noise. Sometimes we use playlists that can last, or just let it stream something. But then when we hook them back up the second time, it's like night and day in several instances. So you certainly can't go wrong. I'd definitely recommend that. Any other thoughts, Nick, Jeff, Brett?
Well, I'm a huge believer in break-in. Whenever I get a new set of speakers, I'm the worst neighbor in the world. I'll leave my system. Oh, there's a thing called reversing polarity, but won't get into that. But I'll leave my speakers just cranking during the day, and I'll just be like, oh, I'll come back in about 3 hours and just leave them playing. So yeah, burn-in 100% makes a difference, especially on bass response. Huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I got nothing to add to that one. You guys covered it all.
Cool. And we will, obviously, we got a few minutes left. We're getting through as many questions as we can. You guys can see Brett's answering a lot of these real time. We will make sure that we go back and answer as many of these as we can over the next couple of days. So if we didn't get to your question, come back to it tomorrow. We post this up on the YouTube channel. And again, we'll get through as many of these questions as we possibly can. Several folks asked, is there a limit to the number of speakers you can pair together? I think the answer there is probably just one pair of tucks. You can't pair them with another pair, but correct me if I'm wrong there.
You are correct. We only have the ability to pair Bluetooth to one device, but if you got a fancier, if you got a fancy phone, some of them do have the ability to stream to two Bluetooth devices at the same time. So you can pull it off, but if you want a multi-room setup with Kanto right now, you usually got to rely on a smart home device to pull it off.
Yeah. Yep. Or hook them up to a Sonos amp or something like that pretty easily, right? Cool. Let's see here. A couple more questions. A lot of folks probably just want to get your general opinion. Obviously, you guys are in the industry. When you break in a pair of speakers and when you're wanting to really kind of see how a pair of speakers perform, what's maybe your one or two go-to tracks that really help you, get a good sense of what the speaker's capable of doing. Let's see. We'll start with Jason and kind of work our way around.
Yeah, for sure. So I got two test tracks that I love using for bass performance and soundstage. I like to use Jessie Ware's Tough Love. She has a very beautiful voice, so you can also use it for determining how pinned your center is as well. But the song has really killer bass and has a lot of breathing room, so you can hear the dynamics. And then I also love to listen to Tony Braxton's "You're Making Me High," because even though it's a little like an older track and it was recorded digital, probably it's got something about it that the vocals. If you can hear the vocals directly in the center of that song that are right in front of you, you've got your system set up properly in terms of the soundstage.
Yeah, great recommendations. Let's see, Nick. We'll go to you next.
So I've got two. If you guys have seen our other live streams, you've probably heard me say these before, but my favorite one is Dolly Parton and Chet Atkins for vocals, at least. This is sound staging. It's Do I Ever Cross Your Mind? Fantastic song. They're sitting in two different chairs, and when a system's really tuned in, you can hear exactly where both of them are. It's not just at the dead center. One will come slightly to the left and one's to the right, so they're great. Another one of my favorites is Jacob Collier, Hideaway. Actually, I found this on a forum and have used this song nonstop. So it wasn't my original one, but it's a fantastic song for bass response, for just extension of the speakers, sound staging, all of it.
Yeah. Two that I really rely on a lot, and part of it is just because I know the song so well. So there's things that you can hear when you listen to high-end gear or even mid-fi gear. When you know a song extremely well, you know what the speakers are revealing or hiding and things like that in the soundstage. So Rock With You by Michael Jackson is just one of my go-tos, man. Musically, the rhythm and pacing of the bass and that kick drum and just the way it's recorded in the 70s and everything. Quincy Jones, there's a lot of gear and tape and things in the production that you can hear, and certain audio products can really reveal those secret techniques and stuff. And I think that's really cool. Another one I really like that's just a guy in the room playing his saxophone is John Coltrane's Naima. I mean, you can just hear the breath of Coltrane on the reed. And, when you can really hear his performance, that's when I kind of know I'm listening to something special, so those are my go-tos.
Awesome. Yeah. Great ones. Brett, Jeff.
Yeah.
Probably one audio shows.
Yeah, probably one of my favorites is Six Blade Knife by Dire Straits. I know that's very cliche, but I quite like that one. And Money by Pink Floyd. I think the start to that has a lot of variable sound to it, and then it all kind of muddles together, and you can really tell how accurate a speaker is by how it plays that first kind of 45 seconds to a minute. If it can't handle that, there's a good chance it's not handling much else.
Yeah, definitely. Jeff.
I'll go with one of the songs that we played when we had Tuck going, which is called Tuesday by it's a kind of like an EDM track by Björk, and it we use that track. I think we played it, I don't know, thousands of times, Brett.
Yeah.
And it definitely had an impact with the crowd, so I'll go with that one. And then typically I'll play something. I'll do like I like live recording with like John Mayer. That's always an easy one for me to kind of identify whether I like the sound of the speakers or not, kind of the dynamics of it. So
yeah.
Yeah.
When we go to, I was just saying, when we go to shows, we like to play, we like to play music that people listen to. Like Jeff and I are usually the DJs and we're in charge. We pick music that people are familiar with and they listen to. I'm really excited to get back to shows and see people and do that again. But one of the comments that we always got was, people recognized our music and they're familiar with it. And I don't know how many times you'd hear the same testing tracks walking down the hallways and
over
and over, right? So it's great.
I would say we're pretty open to hand over the music control to to the people walking in, which I think is rare. The speakers are meant to be listened to, and we've designed them in a way that you can kind of throw different tunes at it and hope they're going to sound good. So we're not overly hesitant to give the customer the keys to the car.
Yeah.
Cool. One of the ones I was just looking at my hi-fi playlist here, and one of the ones that maybe is kind of fun to listen to, is a female track, is "Rise Up" by Andra Day, which is really cool. She just has an amazing voice. I mean, talking about being able to fill a room. I mean, she is great to listen to. So if you haven't heard that one, check it out. So lots of great recommendations. Probably time for maybe one more question here. If there's not one that, Brett, I know you've been answering a bunch of questions offline. I don't know if there's one that jumps out at you. If not, we'll pick one more here.
No, I don't think so. There's nothing. Find one that Jason, is there anything you?
One that passed by that I wanted to quickly touch on. That what was the driving factor when designing the Tuck in choosing an aluminum driver? And this is a really interesting question because you would usually just assume like aluminum driver, really quick transients. That's why you pick it. Oddly enough, aluminum drivers just work really well with AMT tweeters because AMT tweeters can cross out really low. Every single aluminum driver on the market, you have really bad peaking and a really bad resonance that happen at high frequencies. If you have a tweeter that can only be crossover high, you have a good chance of hearing that cone breakup with an aluminum driver. If you can get a tweeter that can cross over really low and you can cross over down, more like 1500 instead of 2000 and above or something, you end up with a really good sound where you don't have that peakiness or resonance or breaking up of the aluminum driver. So that's actually why we picked it. It's an awesome pairing. Aluminum drivers and AMT tweeters are just a match made in heaven, in my opinion.
Yeah, awesome.
I've got a short little anecdote about the Tux, because Jonathan came back from one of the shows, and he was like, these Tux. He talked about them for months, and so you guys sent over one of the pre-production models. And I took them into the back of our filming room and plugged them in, started playing. And I was like, I want to see if I can play the prank that he was talking about with having the subwoofer near it. And so I brought up one of y'all's subs, set it next to it, and then brought in like one of our guys that we've had on the sales floor for probably 30 years. He's very, very, he likes high-end systems. And so I went to go show it to him and set it all up, played it, and he's like, they sound pretty good. He's like, but that sub's doing a lot of work. And I had to show him, like, well, the sub's not on.
Yeah.
And immediately he was shocked by it. He's like, those are absolutely amazing speakers for the price. And so, yeah, I'm a kind of a hi-fi snob myself, and all the Kanto lineup gets my absolute thumbs up.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I remember that very, very well. That was a lot of fun to do that. I got the trick from Jeff. So, all right, let's see here. So let's announce a couple of winners. Jason, I'm going to come to you and let you announce the winner for best question, who will win a pair of the Kanto U's plus a pair of stands. So hopefully you got a best question winner selected.
I got to go with Mitchell Burt for the question about burn-in time. That was a great question. It's a little bit ballsy to ask manufacturers that sort of thing, and you got a lot of good response from all of us. It spurred some good conversation, so I think that's the best one.
Awesome. Well, congrats to Mitchell. You are the lucky winner. I guarantee you'll love the U's. They're a great pair of speakers. And obviously the stands make a huge impact. So we will reach out to you and get those sent to you here shortly. Real quick, before we announce our winner for the month of this month with the amazing $1,600 package, want to quickly announce what we're going to be giving away next month. So that entry, we'll go ahead and have that live here in just a short little bit. We're going to be giving away a brand new Cambridge Evo 150. So we have that full review up, $3,000 value. We will be bringing our friends from Cambridge and a couple folks from across the pond on our live stream to talk a little bit more about the Evo and what went into all of the different thoughts behind getting that brand new product out here recently. So, and then if I can click off of this, here we go. And we'll announce the winner. I'll get a little virtual drum roll. Thanks again. Thank you for putting that up. Thanks again to everyone for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks again to all the folks from Kanto who joined us. Brett, Jeff, Jason, you guys are a ton of fun. Can't wait to hopefully see you guys back at some shows in person here sometime in the not too distant future. So the winner for our package, $1,600 package with the Kanto tuck and the U-turn is, let me pull it up, Joseph Cross from Columbus. I'm not allowed to say, as a Michigan fan, the name of that four-letter word for the state that you reside in and call home, but we'll just leave it at Columbus. So, Joseph Cross, you are the winner, a $1,600 value in the package. Congrats. You're going to absolutely love it. Again, we'll reach out to you and get that sent to you here real soon. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks for everyone for joining us. Craig, Nick, obviously love having you on. Brett, Jeff, Jason, you guys have been a lot of fun. You guys definitely know your stuff. You guys have been tremendous partners. We love working with you guys. Again, can't wait to hopefully see you guys in live and in person again at some of our shows here in the not too distant future. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Go ahead and enter our giveaway for next month, and we will see you guys again soon. Thanks again, everyone. Take care. Have a great night.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great night, guys. Thanks.